The freezing wind pushed through the grand glass doors of the Ritzworth Hotel, as if it didn't care about money or luxury. Inside the golden-lit lobby, guests dressed in gowns and tuxedos walked past marble pillars and flower arrangements worth more than some people's rent. But right in the middle of the polished floor stood a little girl, shaking. She looked about 6. Brown, messy hair, thin arms, scuffed shoes. Her school uniform was soaked from the rain, and she clutched an old teddy bear so tight it looked like she might choke it. No one noticed her at first, or maybe they just didn't want to. It wasn't the place you expected to see a lost child. She wasn't crying, she just kept staring at the elevator. The doors slid open with a soft ding. Out walked Lucian Rees, billionaire, CEO of Rees & Hathaway, one of the world's top investment empires. He wore a navy suit, tailored to perfection, and had 2 assistants behind him, one holding a tablet and the other on a call. His expression was blank, sharp, unreadable, like he didn't feel things the way others did. He never noticed the girl until she stepped in front of him. "Excuse me," she said quietly, her voice shaking. Lucian stopped mid-step. His assistant nearly bumped into him. He looked down. "What are you doing here?" "Please," she whispered, gripping her teddy bear harder. "Could you pretend to be my dad? Just for one day?" For the first time in years, Lucian Rees didn't know what to say. "Who are you?" he asked, not unkindly, just stunned. "My name's Lila," she said, "and I think they're coming to take me away." Lucian glanced around. "Who's Lila?" Turned and pointed subtly toward the hotel entrance. 2 women had just entered, both in grey coats, holding folders. They scanned the lobby like they were looking for something specific or someone. Lucian's first instinct was to walk away. This wasn't his problem. He had meetings, an empire, a reputation to protect. The gala he'd just walked out of was packed with donors and press. But then Lila did something strange. She stepped forward and hugged his leg, her arms wrapped around his suit pant leg like she'd done it 100 times. "I'll be good," she whispered, "just don't let them take me." Lucian stiffened. The women spotted them. One began walking over Sir. She called politely, "I'm sorry to disturb you. We're looking for a child, a little girl, around 6 years old, dark hair, school uniform. We believe she may be in this building." Lucian looked down again. Lila's eyes were full of fear, but also trust in a man she clearly didn't even know. He surprised himself. "She's mine," he said. The woman slowed down. "I'm sorry," Lucian straightened. "She's my daughter. Would you mind verifying that for us? It's standard procedure." "She had a nightmare," he said smoothly. "Got confused, wandered down here alone. If you have concerns, you can speak to my lawyer." The second woman stepped closer. "Sir, if we could just speak to her. I don't appreciate strangers questioning my child in public," Lucian said coldly, "especially when she's upset. If there's a problem, you can call my office." He handed her a card from his wallet. The woman blinked, recognized the name, and suddenly looked much less confident. "We'll make a note of it, Mr. Rees," she said, a little stiffly. "We'll follow up with social services, just to be sure everything's in order." He gave a tight nod. "You do that." The women backed away. Once they were gone, Lucian turned to Lila. "Come with me." He didn't know what he was doing, only that he couldn't leave her standing there like that. He brought her up to his penthouse suite on the top floor. Gold-trimmed everything. City lights stretched for miles outside the window. It was a place designed for power meetings and lonely silence, not children. He sat on one of the leather chairs and gestured for her to sit across. "What's really going on?" "I wasn't lying," she said quietly. "My mom disappeared. She said to run if anything happened to her. I think someone's after us." Lucian studied her. "You know who I am?" She nodded. "I waited for you." "What?" "I saw you weeks ago. At the library. You helped an old man who fell. You didn't wait for a thank you. You just helped him. I thought you might be kind. Just a little." Lucian went still. He had helped a man that day. A random moment. No cameras, no recognition. And this little girl remembered. "I thought you could protect me," she added. "Just for one day. That's all I need." He leaned forward. "Lila, what happened to your mother?" She was scared. "She got a job cleaning for some people, rich people. I think she heard something she wasn't supposed to. Then one night she didn't come home." He narrowed his eyes. "Did you tell that to the women downstairs?" She shook her head. "I don't trust them. They say they're here to help. But I saw one of them on the phone. She said, 'We have To find the girl before she talks. Lucian stiffened. You're sure that's what she said? Leela nodded. He stood and walked toward the window, processing. Outside, headlights from black SUVs blinked in the darkness below. The city hummed. Somewhere down there, people were looking for this girl, and not for good reasons. Why me? He asked again. I didn't need a real dad, she whispered. I just needed someone strong enough to scare them. Someone who could protect me, just once. Lucian stared out the window. He didn't like kids. He didn't do family. His own childhood had been a locked door with no key. But something about this girl, her quiet bravery, her stubborn hope, got under his skin. A buzz broke the silence. His assistant had texted. Prest is asking why you left the gala early. Everything okay? Lucian ignored it. Are you hungry? He asked. Lila nodded. He picked up the phone and ordered food. Then he turned to her. You're safe here for tonight. That's it. Tomorrow morning, we figure something else out. Thank you, she said softly. He didn't answer. He just handed her a soft blanket and turned to leave the room. But before he could, she held out a folded piece of paper. I drew this, she said, before I met you. He took it. The drawing was simple, childlike, a tall man in a blue suit holding hands with a little girl. Above them, in blocky crayon letters, me and Daddy someday. Lucian said nothing, just held the paper. Then boom, a loud crash echoed from downstairs. The walls trembled. Lucian turned fast. Stay here. He rushed to the window. 2 black SUVs had just pulled up. Men in dark jackets stormed out, headed toward the buildings. Private elevator, not police, not child services. Security buzzed the room. Sir, there are unmarked vehicles forcing entry downstairs. Should we engage? Lucian's heart pounded. Leela appeared at the doorway, pale. They found me. He grabbed his phone. Get my car ready. Back entrance. Now. Yes, sir. Lucian turned to her. We're leaving. Now. As they reached the door, it shuddered violently. Someone was trying to break it down. Lila clutched his coat sleeve. You said just one day. She whispered, it's not even over yet. He looked down at her, and for the first time in years, Lucian Reese felt fear. Not for himself, for the girl who had walked into his life and asked for something no one had ever dared to ask. To matter, just once. Be worth protecting. Secrets and survival. The black SUVs were still parked outside the Ritzworth Hotel when Lucian and Lila slipped into the underground garage through a back hallway. Security had done their job. The men in dark jackets were held at the front, demanding access, but Lucian knew it wouldn't last. His personal driver, Marcus, opened the car door the moment he saw them. Where to, sir? Drive. Anywhere safe. I'll tell you when to stop. Marcus nodded. The sleek black car glided out of the garage seconds later. In the back seat, Lila was silent. Her little hands clutched her teddy bear again. Her only lifeline in a world that had turned cold overnight. Lucian watched her closely. You did? Good kid. You stayed calm. I've had to, she said quietly. For a long time. Lucian didn't respond, but something in him shifted just a little. After 20 minutes of silent driving through side streets, Lucian finally gave an address, an old house on the edge of town, one of his lesser-known properties. Not even his board members knew it existed. It had once belonged to his grandmother. Now it was a forgotten escape. Marcus parked behind the house and waited for instructions. Lucian carried Lila's tiny backpack and guided her inside. The place smelled of dust and old wood. No security systems, no cameras, just quiet. Bathrooms to the left, he said. Kitchen's through there. You'll be safe here tonight. Lila sat on the couch and curled up, her eyes scanning the room. She didn't ask for anything. After checking the windows and securing the door, Lucian finally sat across from her. Tell me everything. From the beginning. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. My mom's name was Ellie. Her voice cracked slightly. She used to work nights at a supermarket. But she got sick, couldn't stand for long anymore. She needed something easier. Lucian listened, arms crossed. She took a job cleaning for a man. She never told me his name, only that he had a big house and important visitors. She started coming home scared. Said people were whispering things, numbers, names. She said she overheard something she wasn't supposed to. What kind of things, I don't know. She made me promise not to tell anyone. Lucian leaned forward. Leela, this is serious. If someone hurt your mum because she overheard something, she said if anything happened to her, I had to run, that someone would come looking for me. Because they might think she told me. Lucien frowned. Did she? I don't think so. But the last night I saw her, she made me memorize a number. She said it was important, that it was the only way someone might believe me. Lucien pulled out his phone. What's the number? Lila repeated it slowly. 11 digits. He texted it to his assistant. Run this number. Quietly. No traces. Get me everything. Then he turned back to her. What happened after she disappeared? I waited. At first, I thought maybe she'd gone to the hospital. I called everyone in the city. Nothing. Then I went to the police. They didn't believe me. Said she probably just left. Lucien clenched his jaw. I tried social services, she added. But when I heard one of them on the phone, saying they had to find me before I talked, I ran. Where were you staying? The library, the back stairwell. Sometimes school, if no one noticed. Lucien's chest tightened. This little girl had been surviving on her own, in a world designed to ignore her. How did you track me down? She gave a tiny smile. I saw your name on a magazine. It said you were powerful, but I remembered the man from the library, the man who helped the old guy. Lucien stared at her. He barely remembered that moment, but she did. You waited for me, he murmured. She nodded. And tonight, you came. Silence fell between them. Lucien rose and walked to the window. Outside, the night was still, but he didn't trust it. Whoever was looking for Lila had money and patience. His phone buzzed. Assistant Alicia. The number is linked to a secure whistleblower hotline, used only for government corruption cases. Very serious. Want me to dig deeper? Lucien's heartbeat spiked. Your mom was trying to expose something, he said aloud. Lila looked up, startled. You believe me? I believe there's more going on than people are saying. She stared at the ground. Lucien softened. Did your mom ever tell you who the man was she worked for? She hesitated, then nodded. I think his name was Mr. Calden or something like that. Lucien's blood ran cold. He knew that name. Richard Calden, former government official, now board member of a major pharmaceutical company, and a known associate of powerful lobbyists, the kind of man who made others disappear quietly. Lucien's phone buzzed again. Alicia, need to speak. Urgent. Calden's name is tied to 2 closed investigations. Looks like the whistleblower number was accessed 3 weeks ago. That lines up with your timeline. Lucien paced. He turned to Lila. Lila, your mother tried to report something, and it looks like someone covered it up. She hugged her knees. Is she? Do you think she's? I don't know, Lucien said carefully. But if she's alive, I'll find her. Lila nodded, trying to be brave, but her eyes shone with silent hope. He stood. Get some rest. You're safe tonight. Will you be here? She asked. Softly, he hesitated, then gave a quiet nod. She smiled faintly and curled up on the couch with the blanket. After she slept, Lucien called Alicia. Get me everything on Calden. I want files, phone logs, financial trails, anything that links him to Ellie Martinez. That's the mother's name. Yes, and track down anyone who used that whistleblower line the last month. Find where the message was sent. I'll call you in the morning. Lucien ended the call and sat in the chair, watching the door. Something was building. Bigger than one girl. Bigger than even Lucien had expected. And it started with a drawing and a question. Please pretend to be my dad. Just for one day. Only now it wasn't pretending anymore. The next morning Lila woke to the smell of toast and scrambled eggs. She rubbed her eyes and looked up to find Lucien in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, looking extremely out of place. You made food. I don't cook often, he admitted, sliding the plate in front of her. But I figured you'd be starving. She sat up with a sleepy smile. This is better than library crackers. Lucien almost smiled almost. Then his phone buzzed. He stepped into the hallway to answer. Alicia, Lucien, we have a bigger problem. I found the original message your girl's mum sent. She claimed she had proof that Calden's company was falsifying drug trials, dangerous ones. It was set to go to a journalist, but it never got there. She disappeared before she could hand it off. Yes, and now that you've helped the girl, your name's in their sights. He exhaled. Let them come, but protect the girl. I have a safe house in the countryside. No, Lucien said. We're not hiding, not anymore. He ended the call and turned, but Lila was already behind him. You're going to find them, aren't you? He crouched down. You're not alone anymore, Lila. But this road is going to get hard. She took a deep breath. I've already done hard. Just don't lie to me. He nodded. I won't. But just as he stood, his phone buzzed again. Unknown number. We know where the girl is. If you care about her life, walk away. Lucien stared at the screen. He walked over, grabbed his coat, and picked up his keys. Where are you going? Lila asked. He looked down at her, then said the most shocking thing she could have imagined. I'm going to see Calden, alone. Revenge and revelation. Lucien Reese stood in front of the tall black gates of Calden Estate, a mansion so hidden behind private security that it didn't even appear on Google Maps. No appointment, no lawyers, no warning. Just him, his fists clenched as the gates slowly creaked open, exposing a long driveway shaded by thick trees and guarded by men with earpieces. This wasn't a home, it was a fortress. Lucien walked forward without blinking. Inside, the place was colder than he remembered. Marble floors, high ceilings, quiet. Richard Calden waited in a private study, sitting behind a desk made of black walnut. His graying hair was slicked back, and his sharp eyes were calm. Well, Calden said smoothly. The great Lucien Reese, I didn't expect you. Lucien didn't sit. I'm not here for pleasantries. No, Calden gave a small smirk. Then why barge into my home like some desperate man with nothing to lose? Lucien's voice was quiet, controlled. You had a maid named Ellie Martinez. She's missing. I have dozens of staff. I can't remember every face. Lucien placed a photo on the desk. A photo of Lila, her mother's eyes unmistakable. Calden's face didn't change, but his fingers twitched. She overheard something. Lucien continued. Something about fake drug trials. People died because of your cover-ups, didn't they? Calden leaned back. You sound like a man trying to play hero in someone else's war. Lucien's voice dropped. She called the whistleblower line. That call never reached the press. I wonder why. Now Calden smiled, slow, poisonous. You have no proof. I don't need it, Lucien said coldly. Not yet. But if you so much as breathe in the girl's direction again, I'll rain a legal storm on you so hard your name will be erased from every boardroom in London. Calden raised an eyebrow. What girl? Lucien didn't answer. He walked to the door. This ends now. Stay away from her. Stay away from me. Before Calden could speak again, Lucien was gone. But as he stepped outside, his phone buzzed, and the color drained from his face. Alicia, his assistant. Lucien, emergency. Leela's missing. 1 hour earlier at the safe house, Leela stared out the window of the cottage, biting her lip. Lucien had told her to stay, that he'd handle everything. But what if he couldn't? She couldn't sit here forever. She needed answers. She needed her mum. So when a knock came at the door and a kind voice called Lila, your dad asked us to come take you somewhere safer. She hesitated, then opened it. A woman with a soft smile and a child service badge stood outside. It's okay, sweetie. He sent us. Leela's gut twisted. Something felt off. But the woman looked so calm, so real. The woman extended her hand. Come on, let's go. Lila took a step forward, but she dropped her teddy bear as she walked out. Now, back to Lucien. Lucien slammed his fist against the car window. How the hell did they find her? He snapped into his phone. Alicia spoke quickly. They spoofed official credentials. The safe house staff thought it was real child services. Lucien's voice cracked. Did they take her far? We're tracking their vehicle now. I've got your team on them. But Lucien, there's more. He gritted his teeth. What now? There was a camera feed just before they left. Lila dropped her teddy bear on the porch. Lucien blinked. What if she always held it, even while sleeping? I think it was a message, a sign that she didn't go willingly. Lucien's chest burned. He pulled up GPS on his screen. A moving dot blinked slowly. Got you, he whispered. Inside the van, Lila sat quietly, surrounded by strangers. The woman beside her no longer smiled. We're taking you somewhere private, Lila, she said in a flatter tone. You're very special. Lila kept her eyes on the road. I want my teddy. You'll get it later. I don't trust you, Lila said softly. No one answered. She clutched her backpack instead, and inside it, something sharp poked. Her hand, a note, her mum's note. She'd never read it before, had been too scared. But now, as the van rumbled down a quiet country road, she opened it with shaking fingers. Lila, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone or in danger. Don't trust anyone who says they're from the government, unless you see their ID and hear our safe word. Sunflower. It was the only thing you could say as a baby. Stay strong. You're my whole world. I love you more than life. Mom. Tears filled her eyes. The woman never said sunflower. These people weren't from the government. They were from Calden. Lila slowly reached into her backpack again and pulled out the one thing Lucian had given her that she hadn't used yet, his spare phone. She pressed the emergency call button. It dialed automatically. Lucien's car. The phone buzzed. Lucien answered instantly. Lila, her voice shook. They're not real. They never said sunflower. He closed his eyes in relief. Good girl, listen carefully. What do you see? She peeked. Through the van's curtains. A long road. Lots of trees. A gas station. Green roof. I think we passed a place called Millersford Inn. Lucien muttered something to Marcus. Got it. I'm 15 minutes away. Hold on. Whatever happens, just keep the line open. She nodded, tears running down her face silently. Lucien's voice dropped to a whisper. I'm coming, Lila, I swear. 15 minutes later, the black SUV screeched into the gas station. The kidnapped van was parked behind a rusted old shack nearby. Lucien jumped out before the car stopped moving. He stormed toward the van just as two of the fake agents stepped out, startled. What the Lucian didn't wait. He punched the nearest one square in the jaw. The man fell back, stunned. The other pulled a weapon, but before he could raise it, Marcus tackled him from behind. Lucien threw open the van door. Lila's eyes went wide. You came. He swept her into his arms. I told you I would. Sirens rang out moments later. Alicia had called the police on the way. Within minutes, flashing blue lights filled the station. The woman who had tricked Lila was arrested. So were the men. Calden had sent them. It was clear now. Lucian gave his full statement, and Lila, brave as ever, stood beside him and told the truth. Later that night, back at the safe house, Lila sat by the fireplace. She held her teddy again, and Lucien sat beside her, not saying much. Then she looked up. You could have walked away. I almost did, Lucien admitted. I thought I didn't care, but you came for me. He looked at her seriously. You made me care. I didn't know I could anymore. Silence. Then she reached into her backpack again and pulled out something else she'd hidden. A photo. It showed her mother Ellie, standing in a field, smiling, holding Lila when she was a baby. Lucien took it gently. I'm going to find her, he said. I promise. Lila's voice cracked. What if she's not alive? Lucien looked into her eyes. Then we find the truth, and we make sure the people who did this never hurt anyone else again. She nodded. Her chin quivered, but she didn't cry. Lucien felt something shift inside him. This wasn't about pretending anymore. He was all she had, and for the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of that. But then, just before she fell asleep, Lucien's phone buzzed. It was Alicia again. Lucien, she said urgently, I just got into a restricted folder. You're not going to believe this, but Ellie Martinez's file was marked deceased. Lucien's heart dropped. No, ... But that's the thing, Alicia continued. Her body was never found. No confirmation. Only a statement signed by someone else. A fake report. Lucien gripped the phone tighter. Lucien, Alicia whispered, I think Ellie might still be alive. Closure and catharsis. The rain fell soft and steady as dawn broke over the English countryside. The safe house was quiet, its windows glowing faintly with the early light. Lucien hadn't slept. He sat at the dining table. Papers spread before him, screenshots, bank records, encrypted emails. At the center was a name circled in red ink, Ellie Martinez. Status: presumed deceased, but no death certificate, no body, just a signature on a government file that was later traced to one of Calden's men. And if that signature was forged, then Ellie might still be alive. Lucien's phone buzzed. It was Alicia again. I found something, she said. A hospital near Bristol received a woman 2 weeks ago. Beaten, unconscious. No ID. She had signs of blunt trauma and possible memory loss. She's been listed as a Jane Doe. Send me the address. I already did. One more thing, Lucien. Her photo matches Ellie's employment file. Lucien's breath caught. He stood instantly. Prep the car. We leave in 10. 2 hours later, St. Bridget's Clinic, Bristol. The hospital was quiet, tucked between hills and thick trees. It looked more like a cottage than a medical center. Lucien walked in with Lila beside him, her small hand tightly holding his. The nurse at the front desk blinked. Can I help you? I'm here for the woman in room 6, Lucien said. The Jane Doe. The nurse hesitated. She hasn't had visitors. She doesn't speak much. Are you family? Lucian looked down at Lila, then back at the nurse. Yes, she's our family. They were allowed in. Room 6 was small, clean, and quiet. A woman sat on the bed, her back to the door, hair messy and dark, shoulders thin and tense. Lucian cleared his throat. Ellie, she turned. Lila's breath hitched. ... Mom. The woman's eyes widened, her lips parted. For a second, no sound came out. Then she whispered, Lila, and Lila ran. She flew into her mother's arms with a sound that shattered the stillness of the room, part sob, part joy, part aching relief. Lucian turned away for a moment, letting them have it. His throat tightened, though he didn't understand why. Sweetheart, Ellie whispered, holding her daughter like she'd never let go again. Oh God, I thought I'd lost you. I thought they... I waited. Lila whispered back. I did everything you said. I found someone who helped me. I found him. Ellie turned her gaze to Lucian, and for the first time, their eyes met. She studied him silently. You protected her. I tried, Lucian said, but she saved herself. She's the strongest person I've ever met. Ellie looked at him, emotion flickering in her bruised eyes. Thank you. Lucian gave a single nod. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do. Silence. Then Lucian stepped forward. We're getting you out of here. You'll be safe, I promise. Ellie looked down at her daughter, holding her tighter. I believe you. 3 days later, the case made headlines. CEO exposes government cover-up. Mother and daughter reunited. After whistleblower disappearance, Lucian Reese stood on the steps of the High Court, hand in hand with Lila. Ellie stood beside them, wearing a coat he'd bought for her, soft grey wool and warm. Inside, Richard Colden had just been indicted for conspiracy, obstruction, and multiple counts of endangering public health. Lucian's lawyers had delivered everything: the forged documents, the false death report, and the whistleblower file that Ellie had tried so hard to protect. Justice was finally moving. As cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions. Mr. Reese, is this the end of your involvement? Will you continue fighting government corruption? Who is this little girl to you? Lucian glanced down at Lila, who squeezed his hand. He looked back at the press, and said just one thing. She's the reason I remember what it means to care. Then he led them away from the noise. That evening, back at Lucian's estate, the city lights blinked softly through the wide windows. The gala suits were gone. The boardrooms were silent. And for the first time, Lucian Reese's home didn't feel empty. It felt alive. Lila sat curled up in a giant beanbag, watching cartoons. Ellie came in from the kitchen with a mug of tea, her face brighter now, healing. You're sure this isn't too much? She asked, nodding toward the guest room Lucian had remodeled for her. Lucian shook his head. You need time. You both do. Stay as long as you want. She smiled. You keep saying that, like I might vanish again. Lucian was quiet for a moment. I don't want her to lose you twice. Ellie's voice dropped. She told me what you did for her, how you pretended to be her father. At first, just for a day. She asked me to, Lucian said, smiling faintly. I didn't know what I was saying yes to. And now? She asked softly. He looked at her, then at Lila. She's not pretending anymore. 1 week later, a small ceremony in a quiet office, with no press, no reporters, no flashing cameras. Lucian signed the last form. Legal guardian of Lila Martinez. He looked over at her, holding Ellie's hand. She beamed up at him. So, does this mean you're officially my dad now? Lucian knelt to her level. Only if you still want me to be. She threw her arms around his neck. I wanted you before I even knew your name. Ellie wiped her eyes quietly in the background. A month later, the three of them stood on a hill just outside the city, overlooking the rooftops. Lucian had brought a picnic, his first one in probably 20 years. Lila was drawing again. This time, she sketched all three of them, herself, Ellie, and Lucian holding hands under a bright yellow sun. Above the drawing, she wrote, "Family, for real this time." Lucian looked at it. "You've gotten better. I've had a lot to smile about." Then she reached into her backpack and pulled out the very first drawing she'd made, the one she'd shown Lucian that night in the hotel lobby. The one that started it all. She looked up at him with bright eyes. "Do you remember when I gave you this?" He nodded. "I thought it was just a drawing back then." She smiled. "No, it was a wish. And sometimes, wishes come true." Lucian didn't speak. He just pulled her into a hug, closed his eyes, and held on. Not just for one day, but for every day after. Final line, soul-hitting message sometimes. The people we save end up saving us right back, not by pretending to be family, but by reminding us how to become one. The end.